The lovers of Brahman ask, what is the source of this universe? What is Brahman? From where do we come? By what power do we live? Where do we find rest? Who rules over our joys and sorrows, O seers of Brahman? Shall we think of time, or of the nature of things, or of the law of necessity, or of chance, or of the elements, or of the power of creation of woman or man? Not a union of these, for above them is a soul who thinks. But our soul is under the power of pleasure and pain. By the yoga of meditation and contemplation, the wise saw the power of God hidden in its own creation. It is that who rules over all the sources of this universe, from time to the soul of humans. And they saw the wheel of its power made of one circle, 3 layers, 16 parts, 50 spokes, 20 counter spokes, 6 groups of 8, 3 paths, 1 rope of innumerable strands, and the great illusion. They also saw the river of life, impetuously rushing with the 5 streams of sense feelings, which come from 5 sources, the 5 elements. Its waves are moved by 5 breathing winds, and its origin is a 5-fold fountain of consciousness. This river has 5 whirlpools, and the violent waves of 5 sorrows. It has 5 stages of pain, and 5 dangerous windings and turnings. In this vast wheel of creation, wherein all things live and die, wanders round the human soul like a swan in restless flying, and she thinks that God is afar. But when the love of God comes down upon her, then she finds her own immortal life. Exalted in songs has been Brahman. In that are God and the world and the soul. And that is the imperishable supporter of all. When the seers of Brahman see that, in all creation, they find peace in Brahman and are free from all sorrows. God upholds the oneness of this universe, the seen and the unseen, the transient and the eternal. the soul of humans is bound by pleasure and pain. But when they see God, they are free from all fetters. There is a soul of one with wisdom and unwisdom, power and powerlessness. There is nature, prakriti, which is creation for the sake of the soul. And there is God, infinite, omnipresent, who watches the work of creation. When one knows the three, they know Brahman. Matter in time passes away, but God is forever in eternity. And God rules both matter and soul. By meditation on that, by contemplation, and by communion with that, there comes in the end the destruction of earthly delusion. When one knows God, one is free. Their sorrows have an end, and birth and death are no more. When in inner union they are beyond the world of the body, then the third world, the world of spirit, is found, where the power of the all is, and one has all, for they are one with the one. Know that Brahman is forever in you, and nothing higher is there to be known. When one sees God and the world and the soul, one sees the three. One sees Brahman. Even as fire is not seen in wood, and yet by power it comes to light as fire, so Brahman in the universe and in the soul is revealed by the power of Om. The soul is the wood below that can burn and be fire, and Om is the whirling friction rod above. Prayer is the power that makes Om turn round, and then the mystery of God comes to light. God is found in the soul when sought with truth and self-sacrifice, as fire is found in wood, water in hidden springs, cream in milk, and oil in the oil fruit. There is a spirit who is hidden in all things, as cream is hidden in milk, and who is the source of self-knowledge and self-sacrifice. This is Brahman, the Spirit Supreme. This is Brahman, the Spirit Supreme. Savitri, the god of inspiration, sent the mind and its powers to find truth. He saw the light of the god of fire and spread it over the earth. By the grace of God Savitri, our mind is one with him, and we strive with all our power for light. Savitri gives life to our souls, and then they shine in great light. He makes our mind and its powers one, and leads our thoughts to heaven. The seers of the God, who sees all, keep their mind and their thoughts in oneness. They sing the glory of God Savitri, who has given everyone their work. I sing the songs of olden times with adoration. May my own songs follow the path of the sun. Let all the children of immortality hear me, even those who are in the highest heaven. Where the fire of the Spirit burns, where the wind of the Spirit blows, where the soma wine of the Spirit overflows, there a new soul is born. Inspired then by Savitri, let us find joy in the prayers of olden times, for if we make them our rock, we shall be made pure of past sins. With upright body, head, and neck, lead the mind and its powers into your heart, and the Om of Brahman will then be your boat with which to cross the rivers of fear. And when the body is in silent steadiness, breathe rhythmically through the nostrils with a peaceful ebbing and flowing of breath. The chariot of the mind is drawn by wild horses, and those wild horses have to be tamed. Find a quiet retreat for the practice of yoga, sheltered from the wind, level and clean. free from rubbish, smouldering fires, and ugliness, and where the sound of waters and the beauty of the place help thought and contemplation. These are the imaginary forms that appear before the final vision of Brahman: a mist, a smoke, and a sun, a wind, fireflies, and a fire, lightnings, a clear crystal, and a moon. When the yogi has full power over their body, composed of the elements of earth, water, fire, air, and ether, then they obtain a new body of spiritual fire, which is beyond illness, old age, and death. The first fruits of the practice of yoga are health, little waste matter, and a clear complexion, lightness of the body, a pleasant scent, and a sweet voice, and an absence of greedy desires. Even as a mirror of gold, covered by dust, when cleaned well, shines again in full splendour. When one has seen the truth of the Spirit, they are one with that. The aim of their life is fulfilled, and they are ever beyond sorrow. Then the soul of one becomes a lamp, by which they find the truth of Brahman. Then they see God, pure, never born, everlasting. And when they see God, they are free from all bondage. This is the God whose light illumines all creation, the creator of all from the beginning, that was, that is, and forever shall it be. That is in all, and that sees all. Glory be to that God who is in the fire, who is in the waters, who is in the plants and in the trees, who is in all things in this vast creation. Unto that Spirit be glory and glory. There is one in whose hands is the net of Maya, who rules with its power, who rules all the worlds with its power. It is the same at the time of creation and at the time of dissolution. Those who know it attain immortality. It is Rudra. It alone is the one who governs the worlds with its power. It watches over all beings and rules over their creation and their destruction. Its eyes and mouth are everywhere. Its arms and feet are everywhere. It is God who made heaven and earth, who gave humans their arms, and who gave to the birds their wings. May Rudra, the seer of eternity, who gave to the gods their birth and their glory, who keeps all things under his protection, and who in the beginning created the golden seed, grant us the grace of pure vision. Come down to us, Rudra, who art in the high mountains. Come and let the light of thy face, free from fear and evil, shine upon us. Come to us with your love. Let not the arrow in your hand hurt man or any living being. Let it be an arrow of love. Greater than all is Brahman, the Supreme, the Infinite. It dwells in the mystery of all beings according to their forms in nature. Those who know it know all, and in whose glory all things are, attain immortality. I know the Spirit Supreme, radiant like the sun beyond darkness. One who knows it goes beyond death, for that is the only path to life immortal. Its infinity is beyond what is great or small, and greater than that there is nothing. Like a tree everlasting, it stands in the center of heaven, and its radiance illumines all creation. Those who know it, which is greater than all, beyond form and beyond pain, attain immortality. Those who know not go to the worlds of sorrow. All this universe is in the glory of God, of Shiva, the god of love. The heads and faces of men and women are its own, and it is in the hearts of all. It is indeed the Lord Supreme, whose grace moves the hearts of humans. It leads us unto its own joy and to the glory of its light. It is the inmost soul of all, which like a little flame the size of a thumb is hidden in the hearts of all. It is the master of wisdom, ever reached by thought and love. It is the immortality of those who know it. It has innumerable heads and eyes and feet, and its vastness enfolds the universe, and even a measure of 10 beyond. God is in truth the whole universe, what was, what is, and what beyond shall ever be. It is the God of life immortal, and of all life that lives by food. Its hands and feet are everywhere. It has heads and mouths everywhere. It sees all. It hears all. It is in all. And it is. The light of consciousness comes to one through infinite powers of perception, and yet it is above these powers. It is God, the ruler of all, the infinite refuge of all. The wandering swan of the soul dwells in the castle of 9 gates of the body and flies away to enjoy the outer world. It is the master of the universe, of all that moves and of all that moves not. Without hands, it holds all things. Without feet, it runs everywhere. Without eyes, it sees all things. Without ears, all things it hears. It knows all, but no one knows that. The Spirit before the beginning, the Spirit supreme, everlasting. Concealed in the heart of all beings lies the atman, the Spirit, the Self, smaller than the smallest atom, greater than the greatest spaces. When by the grace of God one sees the glory of God, one sees it beyond the world of desire, and then sorrows are left behind. I know that Spirit whose infinity is in all, who is ever one beyond time. I know the Spirit whom the lovers of Brahman call eternal, beyond the birth and rebirth of life. May God, who in the mystery of its vision and power transforms its white radiance into many-coloured creation, from whom all things come, and into whom they all return. Grant us the grace of pure vision. It is the sun, the moon, and the stars. It is the fire, the waters, and the wind. It is Brahma, the creator of all, and Prajapati, the Lord of creation. Thou this boy, and thou this maiden, thou this man, and thou this woman. Thou art this old man who supports himself on a staff. Thou the God who appears in forms infinite. Thou the bluebird, and thou the green bird. Thou the cloud that conceals the lightning, and thou the seasons and the oceans. Beyond beginning, thou art in thy infinity, and all the worlds had their beginning in thee. There is nature, never born, who with her three elements, light, fire, and darkness, creates all things in nature. There is the never-born soul of humans, bound by the pleasures of nature. And there is the spirit, never born, who has left pleasures behind in the joy of the beyond. There are two birds, two sweet friends, who dwell on the self-same tree. The one eats the fruits thereof, and the other looks on in silence. The first is the human soul, who, resting on that tree, though active, feels sad in its unwisdom. But on beholding the power and the glory of the higher spirit, they become free from sorrow. Of what use is the Rig Veda to one who does not know the spirit from whom the Rig Veda comes, and in whom all things abide? For only those who have found it have found peace. For all the sacred books, all holy sacrifice and ritual, and prayers, all the words of the Vedas, and the whole past and present and future come from the Spirit. With Maya, the power of wonder, it made all things, and by Maya, the human soul is bound. Know therefore that nature is Maya, but that God is the ruler of Maya, and that all beings in our universe are parts of its infinite splendour. It rules over the sources of creation. From that comes the universe, and unto that it returns. It is the Lord, the giver of blessings, the one God of our adoration, in whom there is perfect peace. May Rudra, the seer of eternity, who gave to the gods their birth and their glory, who keeps all things under his protection, and who in the beginning saw the golden seed, grant us the grace of pure vision. Who is the one God to whom we shall offer adoration? The God of gods, in whose glory the worlds are, and who rules this world of humans and all living beings. It is the God of forms infinite, in whose glory all things are, smaller than the smallest atom, and yet the creator of all, ever living in the mystery of its creation. In the vision of this God of love, there is everlasting peace. It is the Lord of all, who, hidden in the heart of things, watches over the world of time. The gods and the seers of Brahman are one with it, and when one knows it, they cut the bonds of death. When one knows God, who is hidden in the heart of all things, even as cream is hidden in milk, and in whose glory all things are, they are free from all bondage. This is the God whose work is all the worlds, the Supreme Soul who dwells forever in the hearts of humans. Those who know it through their hearts and their minds become immortal. There is a region beyond darkness, where there is neither day nor night, nor what is, nor what is not. Only Shiva, the God of love, is there. It is the region of the glorious splendour of God, from whom came the light of the sun, and from whom the ancient wisdom came in the beginning. The mind cannot grasp it above or below, or in the space in between. With whom shall we compare it, whose glory is the whole universe? Far beyond the range of vision, it cannot be seen by mortal eyes. but it can be known by the heart and the mind. And those who attain it attain immortality. A person comes to you in fearful wonder and says, "Thou art God who never was born. Let thy face, Rudra, shine upon me, and let your love be my eternal protection." Hurt not my child, nor the child of my child. Hurt not my life, my horses, or my cows. Kill not in anger our brave men, for we ever come to you with adorations. Two things are hidden in the mystery of infinity of Brahman: knowledge and ignorance. Ignorance passes away, and knowledge is immortal. But Brahman is in eternity, above ignorance and knowledge. It is the one in whose power are the many sources of creation, and the root and the flower of all things. The golden seed, the Creator, was in its mind in the beginning, and it saw that born when time began. It is God who spreads the net of transmigration and then withdraws it in the field of life. It is the Lord who created the lords of creation, the Supreme Soul who rules over all. Even as the radiance of the sun shines everywhere in space, so does the glory of God rule over all its creation. In the unfolding of its own nature, it makes all things blossom into flower and fruit. It gives to them all their fragrance and colour. It, the One, the only God who rules the universe. There is a spirit hidden in the mystery of the Upanishads and the Vedas, and Brahma, the God of creation, owns it as its own creator. It is the Spirit of God, seen by gods and seers of olden times, who, when one with it, became immortal. When a person is bound by the three powers of nature, they work for a selfish reward, and in time they have their reward. Their soul then becomes the many forms of the three powers, strays along the three paths, and wanders on through life and death. The soul is like the sun in splendor. When it becomes one with the self-conscious I am and its desires, it is a flame the size of a thumb. But when one with pure reason and the inner spirit, it becomes in concentration as the point of a needle. The soul can be thought as part of a point of a hair, which divided by 100 were divided by 100 again. And yet, in this living soul, there is a seed of infinity. The soul is not a man, nor a woman, nor what is neither a woman nor a man. When the soul takes the form of a body, by that same body the soul is bound. The soul is born and unfolds in a body, with dreams and desires and the food of life, and then it is reborn in new bodies in accordance with its former works. The quality of the soul determines its future body, earthly or airy, heavy or light. Its thoughts and its actions can lead it to freedom or lead it to bondage in life after life. But there is the God of forms infinite, and when a person knows God, they are free from all bondage. It is the creator of all, ever living in the mystery of its creation. It is beyond beginning and end, and in its glory all things are. It is an incorporeal spirit, but it can only be seen by a heart which is pure. Being and non-being come from it, and it is the creator of all. It is God, the God of love. And when one knows it, then one leaves behind their bodies of transmigration. Some sages speak of the nature of things as the cause of the world, and others in their delusion speak of time. But it is by the glory of God that the wheel of Brahman revolves in the universe. The whole universe is ever in its power. It is pure consciousness, the creator of time, all-powerful, all-knowing. It is under its rule that the work of creation revolves in its evolution. And we have earth and water and ether and fire and air. God ended its work and rested, and it made a bond of love between its soul and the soul of all things, and the one became one with the one, and the two, and the three, and the eight, and with time, and with the subtle mystery of the human soul. Its first works are bound by the three qualities, and it gives to each thing its place in nature. When the three are gone, the work is done, and then a greater work can begin. Its being is the source of all being, the seed of all things that in this life have their life. It is beyond time and space, and yet it is the God of forms infinite, who dwells in our inmost thoughts, and who is seen by those who love. It is beyond the tree of life and time, and things seen by mortal eyes. But the whole universe comes from it. It gives us truth and takes away evil, for it is the Lord of all good. Know that it is in the inmost of your soul, and that it is the home of your immortality. May we know the Lord of Lords, the King of Kings, the God of Gods, God, the God of love, the Lord of all. We cannot see how it works or what are the tools of its work. Nothing can be compared with it. And how can anything be greater than it is? Its power is shown in infinite ways. And how great is its work and wisdom. No one was before it was, and no one has rule over it, because it is the source of all, and it is also the ruler of all. May God, who is hidden in nature, even as the silkworm is hidden in the web of silk it made, lead us to union with its own spirit, with Brahman. It is God, hidden in all beings, their inmost soul, who is in all. It watches the works of creation, lives in all things, watches all things. It is pure consciousness, beyond the three conditions of nature. The one who rules the work of silence of many, the one who transforms one seed into many. Only those who see God in their soul attain the joy eternal. It is the eternal among things that pass away. Pure consciousness of conscious beings, the one who fulfills the prayers of many. By vision and by the harmony of yoga, a person knows God. And when a person knows God, they are free from all fetters. There the sun shines not, nor the moon, nor the stars. Lightning shine not there, and much less earthly fire. From its light all these give light, and its radiance illumines all creation. It is the wandering swan everlasting, the soul of all in the universe, the spirit of fire in the ocean of life. To know it is to overcome death, and it is the only path to life eternal. It is the never created creator of all. It knows all. It is pure consciousness, the creator of time, all-powerful, all-knowing. It is the Lord of the soul and of nature, and of the three conditions of nature. From it comes the transmigration of life and liberation, bondage in time, and freedom in eternity. It is the God of light, immortal in its glory, pure consciousness, omnipresent, the loving protector of all. It is the everlasting ruler of the world. Could there be any ruler but that? Longing therefore for liberation, I go for refuge to God, who by its grace reveals its own light, and who in the beginning created the God of creation and gave to him the sacred Vedas. I go for refuge to God, who is one in the silence of eternity. Pure radiance of beauty and perfection, in whom we find our peace. It is the bridge supreme which leads to immortality, and the spirit of fire which burns the dross of lower life. If it was ever possible for one to fold the tent of the sky, in that day they might be able to end their sorrow without the help of God. By the power of inner harmony and by the grace of God, Shvetashvatara had the vision of Brahman. He then spoke to his nearest hermit students about the supreme purification, about Brahman, whom the seers adore. This supreme mystery of the Vedanta, which was revealed in olden times, must only be given to one whose heart is pure. And who is a pupil or a child. If one has supreme love for God and also loves their master as God, then the light of this teaching shines in a great soul. It shines indeed in a great soul.